All right, it's a disaster. What happened? Well, I'll show you. Okay, so let's widen this sucker out. There you go. So I'm going through my totes, tools. I'm gonna have to make a hardware thing. Oh, there's my. There it was. Let me go. See. Oh, no, it's not tangled. I'll put this in with the electricals and the soldering iron. Here. Yeah, I got this tote pretty much empty. Got that one empty. There's stuff I'm getting rid of. I'm obviously keeping that. That's one of the old crates. They're a little bit bigger. And I think there's all chalk line stuff. That was my grandfather's. So I don't think my brother would have done much with the chalk line. So I got some stuff in here I got to go through and see if I'm going to keep, get rid of, whatever. Oh, there's some solder right there. So yeah, I got to go through that bag and see what I'm going to do. This is a scrap metal bag. These are like tools that, okay, I picked up and I never got a chance to see if they actually work. The Sawzall works, but it's missing pieces. That hand stapler, I don't have the actual whole stapler. But I got other things that are good. It's just I want to sort things out so, like, some tools I could just get rid of, right? You're like, this is all going to be tools and stuff that I'm getting rid of. So it's like the pile's getting bigger. I got to go through that. And that's, I want to have like a dedicated like crowbar, chisels and stuff like that. I got some old rail spikes here. I've never really used them, but I got some like old, like 100-year-old wrenches and stuff like that. These old farm wrenches and stuff. They're cool. My dad might use them on his tractor, but I'd have, for the, like the, the once every 75 years that you'll use it. You know what I mean? I've got modern wrenches and stuff like that, so I don't know what to do with them. Like it'd be a shame to get rid of them because they're antiques, right? So maybe I'll see if Amanda will. But she's got a whole bunch of antique tools that she's like, I don't want any more. Like it's something really spectacular, fine. Maybe she could sell it in her shop or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm gonna go with that for now. I'm gonna start on the books, go through weed out the books. Because next week when I go over to the thrift shop, I'd like to be going there with boxes, at least 4 or 5 boxes of stuff. That would make me feel so good to get rid of all that junk. I mean, just hang on to everything, right? Because you're going to be keeping enough junk as it is. And then next year when I have my yard sale, I'll have lots of stuff to sell next year and, declutter again. But some of it, just give it away. Like it's like for as long as you're going to hang on to it for, you can give a lot of stuff away. You can do this thing, and that's the thing I might do. Is just like give away the stuff that is just like, okay, yeah, it's still good, but do I really need it hanging around? You know what I mean? Like, do I really need it? And if the answer is no, I don't really need it, get rid of it. So yeah, the tools are coming along. I got one more tote up home to bring down here. I could sort it out up there to a degree. Like for example, just the painting stuff, having all my like painting brushes and everything all in one tote. That's gonna be really handy. Rather than there's some in this one, some in that one. It's just like okay, if you're gonna paint, it's all here. If you need sandpaper, it's all here. But I want like a woodworking tote where it's just like woodworking tools, what have you. I want like a gardening tools one. I want a tote for mechanical tools like the auto body dollies and stuff like that. Like I might not use them much, but if they're all in like one area, it's like okay, if I need the torque bar, it's in the it's going to be in the automotive one, right? And stuff like that. So yeah, so I'll have to figure out what's going to go where, and then wood clamps, stuff like that. I get these totes from time to time, which I like the foldable totes. They're not practical to carry around because when you fill them, they weigh like 60 pounds, 70 pounds, 100 pounds, or if you fill them up too much. But I'm going to need like a hardware tote or just jars or whatever, or containers. I got to sort out all my hardware because I have a lot of hardware. I have a lot of nails, lot of nails. They were all packages, but the packages have opened. So, oh my God, cleaning that up was a disaster. Disaster. But I use the nails from time to time, and these are good nails. They're not rusted out. Any nails that are rusted out, they're gone. They're going for scrap. Don't overthink it. Just get rid of it. Don't overthink it. Just get rid of it. So yeah. So once I get that other tote sorted out at home, that pretty much takes care of all of my tools. They'll be organized, and then they could be organized out there. And like, for example, like I had like chemicals in with some tools, and woodworking tools in with mechanical tools, and things like that. And it's just like, it's nice to be able to sort it all out. It's just when you need it, like screwdrivers. Like I have two big bags of screwdrivers, brand new. Well, not brand new, a couple of years old, but full sets of screwdrivers. And it's like one was at the bottom of one tote, one was somewhere else. You know what I mean? And it's nice. Okay, I'm just gonna put them both in the same spot, and away I go. Right. And then I can condense down into smaller toolboxes over time, and just keep the big totes for like the big stuff, the crowbars, like I got a chainsaw tote. I got I have an automotive tote. So again, getting rid of stuff. Looks like there's going to be a little bit more recycling tomorrow, like maybe like that much. Barely, like it's going to take me probably, I'm hoping that almost all the recycling is done. So the next recycling bin that goes out might only be like a quarter of a bin if I can find that much. And then after that, it's like, okay, it's just, maybe it takes me 6 months to fill the recycling bin. That'd be fantastic. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't have a lot of paper, right? I don't have a lot of stuff like that. Now, the thing that I think is going to be hardest to get rid of out of the paper is going to be the magazines, because it's kind of one of those things. If somebody wants magazines, like I tried to pawn them off on my nephew a long time ago, and he just went, I give him one, and he's like, oh, I'll take another one. But I was like, I want you to read it, and then you get another one, right? So, and now that they live up there, I don't want to clutter up there, so I just want to get rid of them. If it's one that's really good, if it has a Bugatti in it, because that's his favorite car, so I'll put that aside, right? But like I showed him like the flashiest magazine, the car magazine. He just like, he loves cars, but he just wasn't into the magazine. I was kind of shocked, to be honest. I was like, I thought he'd be like, oh, thank you, But he was like, oh, okay, I'll go play my video games, whatever. But the plane ones, though, he's fascinated about that, and he's like telling me about World War I airplanes and World War II airplanes, and like he's gaining knowledge on that stuff. So if he's really into it, there's a book on battleships and stuff there. I got to go through that one. If it's really good, I'm keeping it. But I want to keep a couple of the aviation books. But like I said, when I get my bookshelf, if I could sum it up in one bookshelf, like every book that I own, and cycle books that I read it, I liked it. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of it, and just not buy books for the sake of buying books, or taking free books for the sake of taking free books. I know I'm on a bit of a book kick right now, but I go in all kinds of fads all the time. But while I'm cleaning up, that again, you got to break an egg to make an omelet. So okay, yeah, I cleaned up the floor the other day, and it's now full of crates and everything. But all those crates are going to be out on the veranda, and while they're in here, I can clean up the veranda. So, when they go back out there, they're going to be sorted out, and some of those totes will be sorted out for life. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is I'll write on it the wood tote, the whatever. So if I do acquire new tools or have to, I could do that. But I would like to more get rid of stuff than keep stuff. It's nice to have the flexibility to have the tool to work on just about anything you want to work on. Like, for example, I have a fencing tool, and I keep misplacing the damn thing, but it's probably in here somewhere. It's probably in my other. And that fencing tool is like so valuable to me. It's like, it just, I use it so much. I use it on the trap line. I use it putting in fences. It's just a tool that it has to be with me all the time. Because it's just, I never know what I'm going to do. If I have to pull out fence steeples, it's the best one. If you ever get a good fencing tool, I paid like $50 for this tool too. Like, you got a good fencing tool like that, it's an all-in-one. It has a little hammer on it, everything like that, for driving in, like, fence steeples and stuff like that. You get something, a tool like that, it's just like it's a lifetime tool. But then you've got all these other little miscellaneous things, okay, like chisels and stuff like that. Okay, I use this chisel, just like my chisels my chisel sets and my carving chisels. Obviously, I'm going to keep those, and those will stay in the house because chisels, you don't want them rusting on you. They'll rust anywhere you put them. You got to oil them up a bit, and then keep them clean, whatever. But to be able to sort things out enough, like I say, get all the hardware to the hardware, so they're not the hardware is not in the totes and falling around and falling through, and then suddenly you're driving over nails and shit. You know what I mean? I want to avoid that if I can. Yeah, the tote thing, like I'll be able to graduate some stuff to bigger things. I've got all my straps in one tote. Maybe I'll put all the ropes in there too. And then it's all in one. Maybe there'll be two totes because I do have quite a bit of straps. Come to think of it, I don't think my dad gave me back my straps. Or did he? Because usually every time my dad goes moose hunting, I lend him a strap or two. And sometimes I forget to get them back. But I found my second staple gun. So I got two staple guns. So if there's a third one, maybe I'll keep it. But if there's a fourth one, I'll keep the best three. I got my go-to staple gun. It's in my toolbox, my main toolbox all the time. I use it a lot. Like my uncle borrowed it the other day to, plastic in his veranda there. And I was like, my dad is like, make sure he gives me that one back. Like that. That was a good one. That was an expensive one. But it works so bloody well. You know what I mean? So I have two good ones. So if I have like more than, two really good ones. So it's just the third one is kind of like if we're doing like say insulation or something, there's like three guys. You can have three guys on the, I had the hammer one, but I lost the freaking doodatter for it. And the one my dad has, I used it, but that one it's worn out, so like it jams. So I just like this, the staple gun. It just works so good. Yeah, the hammer one is faster, but functional trumps faster every day, right? Hammers. I lost my $12 hammer. To this day, I still don't know where I put it down. It's somewhere out there, guys. It's somewhere out there. But I got a couple other little hammers. And I started, I already got rid of some of the like little mini hammers and stuff like that. It's just like, where would you need a mini hammer where you can't use a big hammer? You know what I mean? I'm sure there's the spot where it's like, damn it, I got rid of that hammer. But I've never used it. Like I just never used it. So I'll get rid of those tools. It's nice to get things sorted out. I have my gardening tools and my my seasonal tools that I use predominantly all sorted out next year, hanging up and stuff like that too. So that's all going to be good. And I don't want to hang everything in the veranda. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's quick and convenient, but there's a woodshed there. No, I wouldn't leave my tools out in the barn or the stable. For no other reason than it's way over there. I want the barns and the stables cleaned and the granary cleaned out. So that maybe the granary, I like fix the floor and fix the tin roof with the other tin that's there, and I can use it as a bit of a workshop. There's going to be like next summer when I get that cleaned out, you're going to see some cool blogs out there. It's a place that I go back to my childhood with my grandfather, right? Where it's like, okay, go in the granary, we got to find this tool. It's like treasure hunt. Every time you go in there, it's a treasure hunt, right? Because my grandfather would always forget where he put the tool. It's like, we're looking for this, and then I'd find, oh yeah, that's the one. Take it with us. It was usually like an axe head or a file or something like that. We'd jump on the tractor, the late end Ford that he had. We'd go back. I'd have my pulp hooks and I'd be helping them load all the 10, 11 years old. It was the best thing ever. Like, Grandpa would drive and my cousin and I'd ride in the wagon. And there's still the wheels from that wagon. I found it a couple of years ago. I was like, oh my God, I guess that's where he last left it, before he passed, God rest him. And it was like as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh wow, flashbacks of riding in this rickety old homemade wagon. It was something. But like some of the old farm equipment around the property, like that old rake, I'd love to be able to the rake, get that thing back here, clean it up, paint it. Even if it's just as an aesthetic, like no one's ever really going to use it. But I would love to like salvage all the horse stuff and see what is actually still functional. Like the leathers are all dried out, but you can rehydrate leather to a good degree, right? And if you can get the horse stuff like looking good, get it painted, painted up and make it red, I'll just hang it on the wall for decor, in the barns and the stables and stuff like that. But maybe someday I do get a horse. I mean, I would love the idea, but you have to be independently wealthy to have a horse. I know, Roger, I'm not independently wealthy, but I have a horse. Yeah, who's taking care of your horse though? Like I'm not talking regular farmers that have cows and livestock anyway, and they're going to be out there feeding stuff out there at 5 o'clock in the morning anyway. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking guys like me that you got to go to work, 24/7 kind of thing, and you don't have time to take care of stuff like that. A horse can become a white elephant really quickly. But that said, when I get through my tools, like I say, and get all the scrap metal out of here next year, today's snow just kind of like seals the deal. Like, unless we get like a major Chinook, this snow is here to stay, and there's going to be like a foot of it, right? Like this November is the snowiest November, maybe not the coldest November in a while, but definitely the snowiest one. So if this is the sign of think like if this is like okay, like it was a few years back where it was just like okay, this is the day it started snowing, and it snowed every day for like 6 weeks straight. Even if it was just light flakes every day coming down, there was just always something coming down. I remember there was one January, there was like 2 days of sunshine in that entire January. It was like, oh my God, it was so dark and depressing. I loved it. It was great. Everybody was like miserable. I'm just like, see, I love it. There's something about being out in end of the world type weather where it's just like, it's either raining and monsooning and just nasty and you're working out in that, or like cold and it's snowing sideways and whatever, and it's a white out and it's miserable. And then you come back into a nice warm house and it's just like, life is good. Life is good. It's perspective, right? In relative to what, as I say. But yeah, so I'm going to go through that. And then I want to get cracking on the bass again. Got to play all about the bass. That song's still stuck in my head. It's like I jammed on it earlier this year with Myrna and Brian there. And I played it twice on stage, and it was like it's 3 chords the whole song, right? And it's like a blues song. All about the bass. That was about the favorite. It was that song and Purple Rain that were my 2 favorites to do. It's just the other guy, I can't think of his name right now, doing Purple. He freaking banged it out, and we did a double guitar solo. Of course, my camera was out of memory by that time. But that we did well. That was the first time I ever played Purple Rain, and it was like I didn't do the guitar solo on it. He did. But there was a part where I saw what he was doing. I was like, I can do that. And we did it as a double guitar solo. That was like the first double guitar solo ever played in that building. This I know. And I was one of the guys. And because as soon as I started doing it, he went, he's like, wow, that's cool. I'll say, I know. Yeah. That was fun time. Fun times. But yeah, the horse equipment, my dad was very, very adamant about you don't throw out any of that. That would be like grounds for disownment. And I was like, no, I'm not going to throw out anything good, but like boxes of nails that are rusted together, that's going. Like the old furnaces, the old stoves, anything that's like, okay, no one's ever going to do anything. But like, for example, some of the antiques in there, such as the old sewing machines and stuff, the modern sewing machines I chucked. But the old singers, sorry, those, if I can get and the pedal one, if I can get that pedal one working, that would be so cool. Might not ever be able to, but if I could just clean it up enough to make the aesthetic, I don't know if I could keep it in here, but it would look cool. It would just as decor, you know what I mean? It's just where do you put it? I put it over like that corner is Grandma's sewing machine corner. This is Grandpa's chair. That's Grandma's rocking chair area. That's where they go. You cannot put them anywhere else in this house other than these spots. And the sewing machine must go to that corner because that's where Grandma kept her sewing machine. And she pulled it out. It was one of those little table ones that flipped up. And you put it away, you wouldn't know it was a sewing machine. Everybody, they come over to this. You have a sewing machine? Why, yes, I do. And she pulled out. And suddenly it was a sewing machine. But before that, she had a like the foot one. Yeah. So, and there's parts of two of them out there. I've been wanting to get them, restained, refinished, whatever's, if I have to. If not, if I could just like re-oil them, and just keep that vintage on there. But the steel, I definitely have to, uh, you know, like either bead blast or like use a stripper on or whatever, get it sanded down, and then repaint for sure, because yeah, they're quite rusty. And same like with my grandfather's ashtray holders, those metal ashtray holders. My brother has one at home, but I don't think that was one of my grandfather. It might have been. It might have been. Because my grandfather probably had a whole bunch of them just lying around, but I just remember the one that was here. You know what I mean? And what have you. But anyway, that's where I'm at. So I'm going to start in on the books, and I'm going to go from there, and then I'm going to record, and then by that time it'll be getting close to that supper time thing. I want to play my drums a little bit today, even if it's only for 5 minutes. Maybe play the acoustic guitar. Yeah, so today's been an indoor day for sure. Tomorrow's recycling day, so that bin that I just filled and put there, providing the plow guy doesn't smack it with the plow, it'll be ready to go again. And then next week will be garbage day again, and then that's like the progress now is to the point where I'm running out of recycling stuff to recycle. That's good, like this. There's going to be one day where it's just like, okay, well, the recycling bin and the garbage bin are going to sit there. I'll get rid of the garbage every week, if it smells or whatever. But I don't have a lot of food and stuff down here that I'm throwing it. Most of the stuff I'm throwing away is like, like the bags of clothes and all that. So, like, it'd probably take me like a week or a month to fill, just the garbage bin, and maybe about 2 or 3 months after I got everything cleaned up. Probably 2 or 3 months to even come close to filling the recycling, which is good. Then it means like I'm not wasting my time doing that every week. So the past 3 months, I've made a lot of ground in here in 3 months. There's still a long way to go. Like, I mean, it's going to be a 3-year project, but the good news is by springtime, I'll just be cracking away on the property instead of like trying to clean up in here and all. But I've got all my painting stuff sorted, so I can start to plan. It's going to just be white. I wouldn't paint it any other color. The bedroom, I like the color that it's been, and it's just kind of like there's something about that color because it's been there all my life, and it's the nostalgia of it, right? The white walls, it wasn't always this. The paneling was originally just like brown and stuff like that. I forget why they decided to paint it. I know the ceiling was redone. I sort of forget how the old ceiling looked. It was paneling of some sort, I'm sure. So they put these tiles up. I'm not going to do anything about that. Anywhere there's like a stain or whatever, maybe I'll repaint it. I don't know. I really hate painting ceilings. I hate painting in general. Well, I don't hate it. It's like, again, in relative to what? But like, it's just all, white is the easiest to go with, even if I go with the off-white. Like, this is a kind of more of like I don't want to say a beige-ish white, but it's, maybe it's just from being stained for, years. Because we probably did this 20 years ago. 2013, 2012, 2013 is when my grandmother passed. God rest her. So we painted probably about 4 or 5 years before that. So yeah, I'd be going on pretty close to 20 years since it's been painted in here. But I've got all kinds of paintbrushes and everything like that, rollers. Yeah. All right, so what are we going to get cracking in the books? See how far I get, and then again, if I can get 4 or 5 boxes of stuff to bring to the thrift shop. The nice thing is they don't have to be open to get it. All I got to do is drop it off at the hall on the step there, because there's a good lean-to. It'll be protected. And they'll be in boxes anyway, and whatever they don't want, they can throw out. Next season, when they do after the big yard, their thrift shop blowout type of thing, when they do that, like usually some guys in town, myself, my brother, a few others, we go and we empty that big storage bin for them. They got like a 40 by 8 by 8 by 40 container there. Yeah, they got one of those, and it's full to the top, with furniture and stuff like that. So they try to clear it out, and anything that doesn't go, it goes, okay, wow. Either it goes to the Salvation Army, whatever's left, or they, if it's something really good, they'll keep it for next year. But the idea is just to, get rid of the stuff. So, like, the good thing about this thrift shop and the stuff like that is it repurposes stuff. I really don't like throwing out good things, but some things are old, and just like, for example, that timing light. Nobody really uses that technology anymore unless you're working on vintage cars. So somebody might find a merit, like a utility in it, but like some of the other tools, it's just like, okay, no one uses that anymore. So just time to let it go. Stuff like that, right? For example, like when last time I was in the bar or in the stable, I noticed that my grandfather had a whole bunch of horseshoes lined up for, I guess they were Barney's horseshoes or whichever horse would have been in there. But the last horse that was in there was Barney, and he, it's the way he left them. So what I'd like to do is, like, they're all rusty, so I'd like to get them, clean them up, maybe put like I don't know, vegetable oil or some sort of an oil on it, or maybe paint them and just put them right back where they were, and like all the yolks on the walls, and just put it where it was, or display it a bit better. So when you go in there, you get a bit of a nostalgia. Because I would like to do stuff in the barn. It's got to be cleaned out. I mean, look, I took the hay out of there since the 1980s. So like the last time hay was used in there, or straw, was in probably 1987, because my grandfather died in 86 or whatever, and that would have been the end of the farm, so to speak. But I think even by that time, the only animal that was left was Barney. Maybe they had some pigs, but the pigs were seasonal, right? And so that was probably the last time that hay was there. So when I put that up home in the garden or whatever as mulch, that's how old that stuff was, right? So like cleaning up the top of the stable, I've cleaned it out quite a bit. I think there's a mattress or something up there. If there is, I don't know why it would be up there, but like, who would have put it up there? Like, why would you have put it up in that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, it's not like you'd stay up there with all the cats and everything up in it, and the birds pooping on it, and the mice, and and just like you'd be choked out on the dust up there from the straw and the hay. Yeah, so it's just stuff that I'll probably get to next year, starting in the spring. The other thing too is that I had a major realization, because there's basically three dilapidated buildings or parts of buildings, like the chicken coop, okay, and that back. I guess it was a pig pen at one point. I think is what my dad said. That had fallen off the back. Yeah, like like a long time ago. And then the back of the granary, there's where there's a hole in the roof there, and it's all barn board. And I was thinking, because I wanted to build myself some raised beds, and I'm just like, hey, why not just use the barn board, right? Like, don't overthink it here. Like, you got some good long barn boards there. I can make all kinds of stuff. I can even make some bookshelves out of it and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go look at that stuff again, and like, yeah, you got to take it apart and then let it dry out, and getting the nails out is always a pain in the ass, but it can be done. And I'll have lots of lumber and barn board. I know you can sell barn board, yeah, whatever. But the problem is when you go to sell barn board, like, you hang on to it forever. Somebody comes in and buys the whole batch for a project, and then it just sits there for like 35 years. Like, that's barn board. But when you do sell it, you can usually sell it for top dollar. Yeah, so it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Yeah, there we go.